16th, 2023, and this is our regularly scheduled public meeting. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Okay, I have no announcements for this evening. Is there any public comment for any of the agenda items this evening? Hearing no comment, we will move on to the next section of the agenda, and that will be presentations. So today we have Chris Stetler, if you don't mind coming to the podium. We'll have a presentation on the home program and community development. Chris is our community development and grant coordinator.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's nice to see you all again. This is going to be a housing rehabilitation refresher, because many of you are well aware of this. However, things have changed kind of drastically in the last couple of years. The rehabilitation program has been around since the late 1970s in one form or another. And what it does is it makes repairs to the homes of low and moderate income people. It brings them up to code, takes care of appliances and heaters, water heaters that are past their prime, roofs that have been on for more than they should have been. When I started here, which was a long, long time ago, we had a 2 to 3 year waiting list for the program. And I'm not saying that I had anything to do with bringing it down, because we had a lot of people, we had a lot of contractors, we had money, but things have changed. COVID had a drastic effect on the project. And so what we're looking for is your assistance in any of your constituents that you know that might be in need of assistance with their house. I left you little lovely parting gifts that has a description of the program and an application in it. Eligibility, always, and I think the pre-application form in there has the current income guidelines on it. People have to own their home and live in it, and they have to be income eligible. Every year the limits change. We only count income and income from assets. That's like the interest on a savings account, or what a 401k earns for what we can predict for the coming year. One thing you need to remember, because this is a very important thing with a lot of the older people, and most of our clients are elderly, all of the financial information is strictly confidential. Nobody sees it. Nobody can ask to see it. All we're required to tell people if they ask on public record is the name of the house and the address. That's all we're allowed to tell them. So the income information is all kept very private. People have to live within the borough. We've had a few that have had Conshohocken addresses that wanted to participate, and we can't do that. We can't do work for borough employees, and we hope that people have their taxes and their sewer fees all paid. We will look into that if we need to. The type of work we can do, anything that will bring the house up to code. This can include roofs, windows, doors, Bilco doors. We just sealed a foundation and sealed the inside of a basement to help with water that was coming in. We replace windows, we do plumbing improvements, we do kitchen improvements. We've redone a lot of kitchens in the last year. So if someone has a stove that's really past its prime, we'll redo the stove. We've done cabinets, we've done floors, and we do concrete work on the exterior of the house if it's needed, like if the stairs aren't quite right, or there isn't a handrail where there needs to be one, or if part of the sidewalk in front of the house has a tripping hazard, we can replace concrete that way. And we've done quite a bit of that in the last year too. The government is very big on lead paint safety and on radon safety. All of the houses in the program are tested for lead paint at the beginning and radon, and if they are found to have levels above the standards, the safety standards, then we do lead paint safe work practices, full abatement, so that their lead is not a problem. We also do a post test on that to make sure that the house is clear. And radon, we do 2 to 3, 4 maybe radons a year. It's becoming a bigger issue. HUD is about to come out with some new requirements on that, so I'm hoping it's not going to change too much of what we want to do. We also do smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, GFCI receptacles, which Chris Small always has to explain to me. And where we can, we try and put the house numbers on the alleys. If there's a garage or there's something in the back that we can attach a set of numbers to, because that's something the borough was interested in one reason or another. No work can be done that is purely cosmetic. If we repair a ceiling because of a leak, yes, we will paint the ceiling and make sure that it looks good. If someone comes in and said, will you please paint the house? No, we can't do that. We have resisted doing, I think we could do carpets, but we really don't do carpets. We had someone wanting us to dig up a path in the backyard, which wasn't really in that bad a shape, so we don't do that. The way this is funded is funded through CDBG, Community Development Block Grant Funds, and Home Investment Partnership Funds. Every time, I mean, I've been here a lot to tell you, we're applying for this, do you have any questions, whatever. Every time we have applied for money, we had a waiting list of double the number of applicants that we could serve with the money we were asking for. That has changed. COVID changed a whole lot. We lost contractors. There were people who were on the list. Some had the work done themselves. We had an inordinate number of people apply who proved to be over income. So, and you know, we can't spend money on that because we don't want to ever have to repay money back to the state. We do put a mortgage on the house. We put a mortgage on the house for the amount of the bid. If there are change orders during the process, like, you know, you find a hole in the roof, or, you know, you go in and you're redoing a ceiling, it looks like something's going to fall down, then we'll do a change order. The cost of those change orders become a grant. The mortgage is placed for 4 years. It's a deferred payment mortgage. People do not pay anything on the mortgage. There are some really clever people who try to sell mortgage insurance to our participants, and a lot of the older people get really upset about that, and we tell them, no, you don't have to. You're not making any payments on this mortgage, so you don't have to. You don't need insurance for it. At the end of, it gets reduced by 1/4 every year they're in the house for 4 years, and then we do a mortgage satisfaction, and we're just starting to do mortgage satisfactions on this part of it. We currently have about $500,000, and we have processed most of what is on our waiting list. We are looking into, you'll probably have a change in the program guidelines in a month or so, because we are going to look back there. We've had a number of requests from people who had their houses done before. And we did the house once. The state's take on that was they didn't want us to become a home repair project. But someone who's had their house and taken care of it for 10 years, and all of a sudden the roof that was good when we did the house the first time isn't good anymore. So we are looking into doing that so that we will be able to do some people who we have done before. So as I said, I wanted to keep this short, but if you run into constituents who are having some trouble, or I tell people we have a lot of older people who, I don't want to ask for any help, or and what I always tell them is, you pay taxes all your life. This is a repayment on your taxes on everything you paid in. So, and most of our clients are absolutely wonderful, and then about 2% we don't talk about anymore. But so if you have questions, I will be happy to try and answer them, and Nancy and I would appreciate any help you could give us on getting new clients for the program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Chris?
No. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Colleen, if you don't mind, Stephanie, could you do roll call now we have everybody here? Thanks.
Councilmember Tutino. Present. Councilmember Serna.
Here.
Councilmember Kingsley.
Here.
Councilmember Barton.
Here.
Councilmember Elam.
Here.
Vice President Sokolowski.
Here.
President Leonard.
Here.
Mayor Aronson.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take it away.
So we will move right on to the consent agenda. The first item on the consent agenda is approve and adopt the February 1st and February 15th regular meeting minutes. The second item is approve the February entering treasurer's report and accounts payable. So there are two motions this evening. The first one, if council is so inclined, is to approve and adopt the February 1st and February 15th regular meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next motion is to approve the February entering treasurer's report and accounts payable in the amount of $775,082.46.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is under unfinished business. The first one is consider authorizing advertisement of an RFP for the shuttle service. So if council is inclined this evening, the motion is to authorize an advertisement of an RFP for shuttle services contingent upon final review by the borough manager and borough solicitor.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is consider approving cable franchise renewal agreement with Verizon. So the motion is to approve a cable franchise renewal agreement with Verizon.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is consider approving Resolution 2023-09, authorizing execution of the cable franchise renewal agreement with Verizon. The motion is to approve Resolution 2023-09, authorizing the execution of the cable franchise renewal agreement with Verizon.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is new business, and I will turn that over to Ms. Checo.
Thank you, President Leonard. We have quite a few escrow releases this evening, so I will work my way through them. The first one is $8,282.92 for 340 East 9th Avenue, the professional services escrow.
And the motion for council is to approve 340 East 9th Avenue Professional Services Escrow Release Number 1 in the amount of $8,282.92.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The project at 130 West 5th Avenue is closed out, so this is a final professional services escrow release.
Thank you, Steph. So the motion, if council is inclined, is to approve 130 West 5th Avenue Professional Services Escrow Release in the amount of $92.34.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
For 509 Spring Mill Avenue, the demo escrow, the demolition is complete, and the building inspector has inspected the site and noted that the demo is final, so the escrow is ready to be released.
So the motion for council is to approve 509 Spring Mill Avenue demolition escrow release number 1 in the amount of $11,441.18.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The 509 Spring Mill Avenue also has a stormwater management escrow that, because that portion of the project is complete, is ready to be released as well.
Thank you, Steph. So the motion is to approve 509 Springwell Avenue Stormwater Management Escrow Release in the amount of $4,034.71.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The project at 720 Spring Mill Avenue has entered the construction phase. The demolition portion of the project is complete, and therefore the final demo escrow release is for consideration this evening.
Thank you, Steph. So the motion is to approve 720 Springwell Avenue Demolition Escrow Release Number 3
I'll make that motion.
Let me finish reading it.
in the amount, it's all right, in the amount of $67,212. We have a motion by Ms. Barton. We have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
This is also for the professional services release for 720 Spring Mill Avenue. The portion of the project is ready to be released, has been reviewed. And so this evening, we also have a professional services escrow release number 1 for your consideration.
So if council is inclined, the motion is to approve 720 Spring Mill Avenue Professional Services Escrow Release Number 1 in the amount of $41,229.49.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Keystone has submitted a escrow release for Sora West. In response to the developer's request, our engineer completed a site inspection and prepared an escrow recommendation for your approval this evening.
So the motion for Sora West Financial Security Escrow Release Number 11 in the amount of $105,996.25.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
We made it through the escrows. Okay,
Thank
moving
God.
on to environmental testing consultant for the housing rehab program. The housing rehab program uses multiple consultant services. One of them is the environmental testing, specifically for lead-based paint and radon. The contract went out to bid. We received 2 proposals from DTEC Environmental Testing and Spartech Environmental. The submittals were reviewed by our home program managers, and they are recommending the award of the bid to DTEC Environmental Testing.
Thank you, Steph. So if council is inclined this evening, the motion is to award a bid for consulting services for environmental testing services for the housing rehabilitation program to DTEC Environmental Testing.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The housing rehab program also utilizes an intake coordinator, which is our other consultant, and DCED requires periodic reprocurement of those consultants because of the federally funded programs. The intake coordinator position was solicited by, the solicitations went out to 3 entities. The responses for the 3 firms, 2 actually responded with information that was requested. We had 1 that did not respond, but on our record, we do have 3 entities that were reached out to. We are recommending this evening that the borough award a contract for the intake coordinator position for the housing rehab program to Nancy Nugent, who is our current intake coordinator and does a fabulous job.
So the motion this evening is to award a contract for the intake coordinator position for the housing rehabilitation program to Nancy Nugent.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Earlier this year, we had moved funds from the housing rehab activity to curb ramps, and we are happy to say that the curb ramp project actually came in under the budget that we had estimated. Therefore, we have about $8,239.24 to transfer back to the CDBG contract. So for consideration this evening is to approve the transfer of those funds from the curb ramp activity funds to the housing rehab activity funds for the 2019 CDBG contract, if so inclined.
Thank you, Steph. The motion is to approve the submission of a request to transfer curb ramp activity funds in the amount of $8,239.24 to the housing rehabilitation activity in the 2019 CDBG contract.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And I can happily say now that the Chris Stetler show is ended for this evening. In evaluating the borough with the construction, specifically related to SOAR and Amerisource Bergen, also with construction that's currently ongoing at 2nd Avenue and potential future plans for 2nd Avenue, we have heard from some residents regarding some traffic issues or safety issues at West First Avenue and Forest Street. So what we would like to do this evening is get your permission through an emergency resolution to install a two-way stop sign at that intersection to determine whether or not that assists and alleviates some of the concerns of the residents in that area. So this evening, we're asking for your consideration to pass the emergency resolution to put in the two-way stop sign, and then administration will evaluate whether or not that should become permanent moving forward.
Thank you, Steph.
Where's that going on First Avenue? Like, there's the intersection at Forest?
At Forest and First.
So is it just going, you said two-way, that intersection goes three ways. That comes down Forest and then both ways on First.
It'll just be moving from Forest onto First.
Okay.
So in other words, coming up the hill from Maple, there'll be one there, and then over here on Forest, there'll be another one. Is that right?
First Avenue's a one-way down to Maple.
Go ahead. You could just clarify.
Forest Street comes into First Avenue and faces a Mercer's
We're good.
building.
Right.
There'll be a stop sign on the right side of that, and there'll be a stop sign on the left.
Just so that you
Okay, so
can.
there'll be three stop signs then.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you're looking at it from the,
So it's-
We're adding two, the three
You-
total.
Okay.
Correct?
I
Yes.
wrote it so you're adding two, so yes, I will.
you're adding two. If you're driving and coming at the intersection will be covered both
Right.
directions.
Okay, you said two-way stop, I'm good.
I'm sorry, that
That's
must
okay.
have been me confusing
Wait.
you.
We're so easy to get confused.
So it's not a two-way stop, it's two
It's
stop
two stop
signs.
signs.
You make it a three-way
Make it a
stop.
three-way stop.
You good?
Cool, I got it. Two stop
I
signs.
just wanted to make sure everyone was paying attention.
Apparently we are. So the motion, if council is inclined to approve, is to approve Resolution 2023-10, establishing an emergency two-way stop sign at West First Avenue and Forest Street.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
We are moving out of the first quarter in 2023, and so we have been diligently working on the capital projects that were approved for the 2023 fiscal year. As we're all aware, there are supply chain issues. There are other issues as it pertains to products in terms of availability. So we've had to kind of get creative in our thinking. So for specifically the borough signage that was approved in the budget, that was approved at a $40,000 amount. When the products that are available to us, we were going to start actually putting on the building, the structure of the building, we had to take into account with the materials that were available, specifically as it related to electrical and the structural attachment to the facade. Therefore, we had to do a little bit of what I'll call change order on what we had originally planned to install on the building. And so what you're looking at now is an increase of roughly $17,000 for the signage, which we believe in the state that we are currently looking at now is actually going to be better moving in the future in terms of lighting options and kind of what we talked about in terms of our main street moving forward. And also, we will be able to attach the signage to the building without causing any structural damage to the facade, which is an important component. So we do think that the $17,835 is a worthwhile increase in order to do the signage correctly. So that is the first supplemental appropriation I'm requesting this evening. And then the second is related to the gas buoy system. So this is basically the gas pump at the public services garage that fuels every single borough vehicle from the recreation department to public works, police, fire, Narberth, ambulance, et cetera. So it's probably one of the most important components operationally for us. The alternative is to take all of our vehicles to a commercial gas station, which would increase our costs greatly, not without even factoring in the concept of having to drive to get to the gas station. So It is broken and not working correctly. The software that is tied to the pump itself is also greatly outdated. So we did look at options to basically put a Band-Aid on it to get it through 2023. From my perspective, spending in excess of a couple $1,000s to Band-Aid it makes no sense. I think it would be fiscally irresponsible for us to put that type of money out if we could just spend the full amount to replace the whole system and do it correctly. So what I am requesting this evening is a supplemental appropriation from your capital reserve fund to your capital fund in the amount of $13,070. And that would be for the system, the pump, and the software that's included.
So for council this evening, it is consider approving Resolution 2023-11, approving supplemental appropriations in the amount of $13,070 for the purchase of a Gatsby system and pump, and $17,835 for the Borough Hall exterior signage.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The last item is a special event application for the Police Association Conchi 5K. This event has been held in the past. It has not been held since COVID hit, so the last time we had it was in 2019, so the Police Association is trying to bring the event back. The event is hosted at Sutcliffe Park. The date is April 29th. The event is from 8 to 1 in terms of setup and breakdown. The race itself will start at 10 a.m. It's wrapped up by about 11. It's a relatively short event. The park is available that day. Again, we would approve it if inclined, contingent upon a full administrative review, so it still has to go and be circulated throughout all of our departments, which we plan to do on Friday if it gets approval from council. We have confirmed with the police department that since the park does not permit dogs, that the race will not permit dogs. I know that has been an issue in the past, so that was confirmed and clarified in their event request.
So for council this evening, the motion is to approve a special event application and fee waiver for the Police Association Country 5K scheduled for Saturday, April 29th at Sutcliffe Park, contingent upon final administration review.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there anyone for any public comment this evening? Mayor Aronson?
Thank you, President Leonard. So the first thing I wanted to tell everyone about was Yoga Home's Flows and Flights, which is an annual event that they put on before the parade. But I'm highlighting it because Yoga Home actually closed during COVID. They had a spot right across from the community garden and have since come back on East 8th Avenue. And this is the first time they ran the event post-COVID. So it's really a success story. And shows how badly they wanted to remain in Conshohocken. So congratulations to them, and of course it was a wonderful event. One of Sarah's first back out in the community, so she was thrilled to do that. And then the second thing, of course, is the parade, which was wonderful. I spoke during the day and pointed out our incredible administration, public services and emergency services that work so hard behind the scenes. And all I heard from the AOH was how wonderful our administration was to work with. So thank you to our entire staff as always. And finally, we took Thomas to check out Marywood Park, and I'm happy to report lack of crying. He seemed to really like it. And he really was eyeing up that zip line. So thank you for your support of the parks, as we will be cycling through them for sure. That's it for me.
Thank you, Mayor Aronson.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Anita?
Just a big thank you for the parade. It was a fun time, and I know the kids were enjoying all the candy that they got.
So are the adults.
Well, yeah, those two.
Kathleen?
Yeah, like everybody else, I'd like to say thank you for everybody who made the parade happen. And a reminder that next weekend is the 50th anniversary for the Italian Bakery on the 26th. If you can make it, there'll be a little block party there.
Okay, thank you. Adrian?
Nothing.
Karen?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Chief Metz?
I'm going to take the opportunity to thank the fire police, who had a really strong turnout, probably the biggest one yet.
Yeah.
Again, none of it happens without that.
No, it does not, yeah. So they did a great job, along with everyone else, our borough crew, our administration, the police department, the fire department in general, everyone, our council for handing out all that candy. It was a hard job, but somebody had to do it. It was a hard job. My arm still hurts from that bucket. So, but it was a great day. So, thank you to everyone. And with that, I will say,
I have one
oh
thing.
God, I forgot Tina. I'm sorry, Tina.
It's okay. So at my work, I'm sponsoring a Kindness Matters Week. And in the spirit of Kindness Matters, one of the initiatives that we have been doing is Caught in the Act. So it's in my mind, and today someone of our borough crew workers was caught in the act. So I just want to say thank you to Anthony Scott, who I identified as helping one of our disabled residents actually cross a very dangerous area with the work that's being done on the sidewalks along the Fayette Street corridor. So Anthony Scott caught in the act, and kindness really does matter.
Thank you. Good for Anthony Scott. I'll cut my hands for him. And now I will say, meeting adjourned. Thank you.